Hi everyone, it's Casey from Casey's Workshop. I wanted to touch base with you all, let you know what's been happening. Oh, you're leaving me to talk? Yeah, I had an incident with my diabetes, and it's called ketoacidosis, and it was kind of like the perfect storm, and my numbers were up there, and I was kind of getting used to it being up there. My primary had stopped filling my Mounjaro because I had missed an appointment and she wanted to see me before she refilled it, and that didn't help with my numbers getting really high because it was like cold turkey stopping that. And this particular day I had gone out and moved some heavy furniture. Actually, it was out of, the area where I try my clothes on. There was a big hutch right off to the left, and I was moving that outside, and I was extremely tired after I had moved that. And I was thinking, gosh, maybe you're just getting old and you can't move furniture like you used to. And that kind of hit me the rest of the afternoon into the evening, and I went to bed. Woke up the next morning and I was still pretty exhausted. And then I started getting really thirsty. And when I say thirsty, I'm talking bite Ron's arm off to get me something to drink. My mouth was so dry that I could hardly talk, and I just wanted water. And LaCroix, he had bought a new kind of LaCroix, and it was just tasted so good to me, and I wanted more and more. Well, then I started to vomit, and I thought, wow, maybe I picked up a bug somewhere. But I couldn't figure out how I had done that because I hadn't been out and about. And so I was vomiting and dry heaving, and then I decided to go lay down for a bit, and I had one foot up onto my bed, and Ron goes, I think we need to take you to the hospital. And the reason was I was starting to not be able to breathe, and I was grasping for air. And with that feeling, I said, yeah, let's go. And by the time I got to the hospital, I was seeing just bright yellow, nothing but bright yellow, and I could hardly even make my way anywhere. And they brought me in a wheelchair, and I just remember laying over Ron's lap, just trying to get air. And why the triage didn't assess me better and get me in right away, I'll never know. But we were in the waiting room for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and I kept whispering to Ron, I think I'm gonna die. Because I had never felt like that before. I just couldn't get any air. Excuse me, my the throat. So by the time they got me in, the doctor assessed me and said you're going to ICU. And once I got up there, I was all hooked up to stuff and getting fluids and medication to help with my breathing, and antibiotics, and even pain meds, and that was to help with my breathing. And then they started telling me what actually it was, and it was diabetic ketoacidosis. And if you look it up, you'll see these little pictures. And I went through the little pictures. I got extremely tired, extremely thirsty. Then I started vomiting, and then I couldn't breathe. And when you look at those little cartoon pictures, you don't think it would be that bad. But that not breathing, whew, let me tell you, scary stuff. And just begging for somebody to help me get some air. And they weren't hooking me up to oxygen or anything. And I was thinking, what the heck? Somebody, needs to help me breathe. But eventually, the medicines that they had going in me started working, and my labored breathing stopped. And the following day, the doctor came in, and he said, "How are you feeling today?" And I said, "Oh, much better. I can breathe." And they still didn't allow me to eat or anything, and drink much. That was the other thing. They said I was getting enough fluids, but that doesn't make you feel any better when you can't drink anything. Not even ice chips. But anyway, how are you feeling? And much better. And then he goes, "Want you to know you almost died yesterday." And I, kind of looked at him wide-eyed because, yeah, I knew I couldn't breathe, but I didn't know I was that close to dying. And anyway, I was in the ICU for 3 days, and then they put me into a regular hospital room. And after 3 days, I finally got some crackers. Woohoo! And later that night, I got a sandwich, so that was good. And then when I was released, my numbers were still up there, but I was on insulin long-term and short-term 3 times a day for the short-term. And they said not to worry about the numbers so much. Now that you're on insulin, you'll see them come down. Well, then I had to see an endocrinologist doctor, and she's a young, bubbly gal, and she was really excited about my case because she had never heard of a type 2 going into ketose. So, being young and spunky, she was excited to help me get my numbers right. And she said, I'll be seeing her once a week for 9 weeks and increasing my insulin a little every day. And she's got me on a real strict diet. Not fun at all. And anyway, I'm supposed to see a foot doctor right away. And, all the things that you hear horror stories about being diabetic are right there in my forefront. And I just wanted to let all my fellow diabetic people take your numbers serious, because you never want to go through what I went through. It was horrible. And it's such a long haul coming back to get your energy back. And what was funny is I was moving that piece of furniture that day out of my area where I usually do try-ons outside. I was going to put it in my tea room, and then I was moving my dining room back into that vacant spot and use my old dining room and plant room and turn it into an exercise room. And Ron was getting healthy foods bought And, you know, we were just going to do a whole lifestyle change, but it was just a little too late. And we're still, you know, excited to do that. And he's been cooking me healthy things. And eventually I'll be able to get a treadmill in there, and I have a trampoline in there right now. So I'll get my energy back and I'll be back. I'm looking forward to doing some try-ons again, and I have a Shein haul coming, and I might even get to a Goodwill and see what I can find and do a Shein Goodwill haul. But meanwhile, don't give up on me, because I'll be back. Okay? Love you all.